Wagwan conscious creators. Thank you guys so much tuning into another one of my videos. Um, so in today's video, we're going to be discussing the topic of empaths. And the reason why I'm actually discussing this topic is because it's only since recently, meaning like since last year, that I came to really understand like that I am an empath. I didn't really process or think about it before, but in having been with having it brought to my attention, like I came to realize like, yeah, I am an empath, and I didn't understand why I sometimes feel the way I feel about certain things, or the certain level of sensitivity that I have. I didn't really understand why, but in doing further research into this, I came to realize that, yeah, you are definitely an empath. And so this video is like for people who are really trying to understand if they can identify with this topic or not, just to have some clarity with respect to their life and with respect to how you can really use um this. I would classify in a certain respect as a, I guess, a capability. Of course it has its pros and its cons, but to me, in this line of work, and in trying to, I guess, explain things in this spiritual context, it definitely has a lot of pros where all that is concerned. But if not, managed properly, if you're not aware of it, then yeah, it can definitely be very challenging for you in certain situations, right? So yeah, let's dive right into the topic, okay? So let's start out by defining, what an empath is. So, an empath would be someone who can deeply sense and feel the emotions, energies, and the experiences of others as if they were their own. And, in a certain way, you hear that definition, you might be like, it's kind of weird. I mean, everybody kind of feels things, but trust me, in this context, like, you literally feel it. And I'm speaking from experience, like, because, like, whether it was in person being around people and they express themselves in a certain way, I'd feel it to a very high degree. And if it's animals, like if they're going through something, or if they're in pain or whatever, like I feel it, man. It's always been that way ever since I was a child, and I was always very very sensitive to this day to seeing certain things, or to just being around certain things that it definitely had a certain impact on me, but I never really understood the whole purpose or meaning behind it. And so if you're one of those people, then you pretty much are an empath, you know what I mean? So let us go into discussing like a few key things that you can look out for in knowing whether or not you're an empath. Okay, so how do you know you're an empath? So here are some signs, right? So number one, you easily absorb the emotions of others, sometimes without even realize it. Number two, you have strong intuition and can often sense when something is off or when someone is in need. Number three, crowded places or negative environments can quickly drain your energy. Number four, you're highly empathetic and compassionate, often putting others' needs before your own. Number five, you have a deep connection to nature and animals, feeling their emotions and energies as well. Man, that describes me in so many so many ways, man. It's crazy, And as the video goes on, we'll kind of see how these things really, they, like I said, there are pros and there are cons, but they have their functionalities depending on how you utilize um these capabilities. But the key thing is that you understand, in a certain way, why it's happening, um, and not overlook it, and be judged for responding to circumstances or situations a certain way when it's not necessarily your fault. I think it's very important to identify and understand this whole concept, like truthfully, because it's so much more deeper than what's on the surface of responding to people's emotions, or responding to being in certain environments, or just things that you might see in public. you know. So yeah. So let's continue the discussion by pretty much talking about the abilities of empaths, right? So empaths possess unique sets of skills that can, as I mentioned, be a blessing and a curse, or not a curse, all right? Let's say a challenge. As I said, there are pros and cons to this whole capacity, right? So number one, empaths are excellent listeners and can offer profound emotional support to those in need. Number two, they have a knack for understanding others' perspectives and can often see beyond the surface. Number three, empaths are natural healers, using their empathy and compassion to comfort and uplift others. Number four, they have the ability to transmute negative energies into positive ones, creating a sense of harmony and balance wherever they go. Now, of course, this list, I'm just giving a few examples, and there's probably a lot more to um, the abilities of empaths. But I think these four are definitely some of the more common ones that we could relate to, or at least for myself that I can definitely relate to. So, as I said, there's there are pros, to being an empath, but it does comes with its challenges, right? So, with all that being said, empaths can easily become overwhelmed or drained by the intense energies and emotions they absorb from others. And trust me, this should not be taken lightly because, like I said, with you being aware of this, because sometimes you might not even understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling because you're not paying attention to the environments you're around, um or the people, or different circumstances that indeed are affecting you. And so it's important for you to become attentive to those things, because then you can pretty much put two and two together and then make decisions to kind of help you better gauge yourself and better be able to cope in different environments, if that makes sense. So that's pretty much why it's crucial for empaths to practice self care and establish healthy boundaries. And this would include number one, setting aside time for solitude and introspection to recharge your energy. Number two, practice practice grounding techniques such as meditation, yoga, spending time in nature, doing breath work, stuff like that, grounding yourself, walking barefoot on the grass and on the beach, wherever suits you. Number three, supporting yourself with positive people and environments that uplift and support you. Super important. Number four, learn to say no and prioritize your own well being, even if it means disappointing others. Again, all of these are super, super important. And for me, I've struggled with some of these things, um, because at the end of the day, I, I don't know. It's like, for me personally, especially with like saying no and prioritizing your own well-being, and you know what I mean, it's taken me a long time to kind of get to a better place of managing myself to not like putting others needs over my own, or you know not trying to think about me first before making certain decisions. It's taken a long time to kind of like get to these different phases. So it's all a process. And it's not that, obviously, you don't have to be perfect at all four, but you definitely, as I said, in becoming more self aware of your um, capacity as an empath, you have to understand that because you can be impacted by these different things, you have to counteract all this by being very practical with how you use your time, and how you pretty much socialize or interact with others, because it definitely has a major impact on your life. So to wrap it up, I thought it would be cool to kind of explore some of the spiritual capabilities of empaths, right? So many believe that empaths have a special connection to the spiritual realm, allowing them to do the following. Number one, receive guidance and insights from higher sources such as spirit guides or guardian angels. Number two, tap into the collective consciousness and gain wisdom beyond their own experiences. Number three, channel healing energies to facilitate emotional, physical, and spiritual healing in themselves and others. Number four, serve as beacons of light and love, spreading compassion and empathy wherever they go. Again, I can definitely relate to a lot of these different things. And, even for the first one where it's, about receiving guidance and insights from higher sources, I remember throughout my collegiate years where, man, it would be so interesting, but I'd just be randomly just, going about my business and these thoughts just come to me out of nowhere and I'm like wondering like what where did this come from? Like it's like so crazy. It's like you receive like, in certain spheres they call it like you receive a download, you know what I mean? Like you receive some transmission and it's like where is this coming from? Like how this like the thought itself, sometimes it can be like a very profound thought, sometimes it might not be, but it's like so interesting when it does happen because it's like it just comes out of nowhere, you know. And when things like that happens, it speaks to how connected you are, within that time and space. um and it's just really interesting, and I don't know if you guys can relate to some of these capabilities, but like I said, it helps, definitely helps to kind of put the pieces together based on what you might be going through, so that you don't again take these things for granted. So I hope this video helps someone out there who has been going through, you know, I guess different types of situations in their life where, they've come to realize that, man, whether it's environmental, whether it's based on who you're around, um, what you're seeing in person on the media, you just have these strong reactions internally to these, to our strong sensitivities to what you're seeing or experiencing. There's, as I said, definitely a reason behind it. And I think it's really good, to become self-aware, to understand why it's happening, to then be able to make better decisions and be proactive about, your journey and your space and all these different things. So I hope this video helps someone out there. Um big ups to all the empaths, out there. Definitely know that you have a higher purpose with this capability or with this capacity. So yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. And as I always say, look out for more. I share my journey to help, with the hope that, in sharing these things, that someone else can be inspired, someone else can learn and get a better understanding of their own life, to further inspire others. So I express my sincere love and gratitude to each and every one of you. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you guys for tuning into my content, and stay tuned for more. Oh, by the way, if you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, drop a comment, and that would be greatly appreciated. Share the content. But yeah, much love, guys.